So today is a very exciting day for me. I've taken delivery of the Flanders Scientific XMP310. This is their new reference grading master monitor. Just to say this video is not sponsored, I've paid for this with my own money. I spent all day yesterday testing it and we're going to install it, so you're going to follow that journey with me. It's a bit of an emotional day as well because I'm saying goodbye to my trusty DM250. I love this monitor. This has been great. I've had it 6 years now, but it's time to move forward. I need 4K monitoring. I want HDR monitoring. I want a slightly bigger form factor. So this is the 31-inch. I've got Mark with me, who's a DP. I've graded tons of his stuff. Mark's very excited to see this go in as well. You're excited, aren't you, Mark?
I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, you will be when you see it go in. All right, let's do this. So this is the end of the DM250. It's very emotional. Now I can't wait to get the other one in. Let's go. Right, I'm going to have to crawl under here. This is not going to look so pretty.
There he goes.
Good job I only do this about once every 6 years. That is now officially decommissioned. And a book about little people in the city. 6 years I've been looking at that. You don't have to film this bit, you know. So now we've got a nice gap here. I'm hoping that the 31-inch fits beautifully in there. Let's have it that way around. It's probably better for me in the Colorist to see the front and the back. Try and put it over first. Right. Yeah. From 25 to 31. Right, so now the only thing I've got to check now is the height, because obviously it's at the top of the panel. So the mains is like this strange connector thing, and it's on quite a big mains block. I sit quite happy behind it. So I've got a 12G SDI cable that I've already connected to the Audiio stream. Right, so I've got my SDI connected. Let's switch it on. Oh, I love it already. Right, it does need to lift up a bit, but that is going to work really well. Oh, I'm so pleased that actually fits. That would have been a nightmare. Right, I need something to prop it up with. So let's go to the cupboard of doom and see what's in it. Oh, I've got so much stuff in here. Not what I need, that's for sure. So I knew it was worth hanging on to these old HD cam tapes. These are going to make perfect little risers. That is absolutely perfectly right. I tell you what, that looks great.
Those look good.
I am so pleased with that. So I just need a moment with my new monitor. Right, let's get the lights out. So I've just spent an extra few minutes just adjusting the height and getting this exactly where I want it. And I can tell you this, as a grading experience from here to there, this is a much better experience for me than working on the 25. So I can't wait to get started on this. So let me tell you a little bit about what attracted me to this monitor to start with. It's 31.5 inches, which I can't believe how much better that looks than the 25. It is an SDR master grading reference monitor. So all my work is still SDR. So obviously now I can work in Ultra HD and not just HD. So I'm going to be looking at true pixels on there. But it does do HDR, of course. It's 1000 nits. So when I need to go to PQ or HLG, HDR grading, Rec 2020, we're good to go on this. It's a Flanders Scientific. I know it's going to be a great experience because I've had one for 6 years. So this can only be better. This is quantum dot OLED technology. So you're not going to get any of that haloing that you get with the backlight dimming systems. So I'm really looking forward to testing that out as well. It comes pre-calibrated from the factory. It's got this thing called Gaia AutoCal in there, so I can actually calibrate this myself, not understanding how calibration software works very well, because you don't need any software. I don't need a PC or a Mac or anything like that. You just plug a probe straight into the back. So the connectivity on the back is 12G SDI, so it's a really simple plug and play straight in. The viewing angle on this is claiming to be 179 degrees, which is a real big feature. So I often have a director sat next to me here, and I can tell you now, even though I've got a little bit of lights going on here, but I mean, that is impressive. I don't know how we can show that on camera. Maybe we get a bit of B-roll of that, Mark, later. But that looks absolutely fantastic. So stick with this episode, because after I've had the system for about a week, I do some further testing under proper grading conditions. And if you like these sort of reviews, think about subscribing and hit the like button for me. So let's first take a look at this in SDR. So I've got a very simple node tree here. I'm going from ARRI. This is the ARRI Classic Test Chart, which I know very well. So this gives me a good indicator of how well calibrated this monitor is. And it's looking absolutely fantastic already. But I'm going from ARRI Log C4, up to DaVinci wide gamma, back down to Rec 79 gamma 2.4. So we need to make sure that this monitor is set to 2.4. I already know it's calibrated because I've got the calibration chart from the factory. I'm going to go to the menu. The menu is really simple. First thing I'm noticing now that this is in place, and I'm quite short, is that these menus are quite far away from me. So the next thing I'm going to do is allocate these to a Stream Deck. You can put all these function buttons onto a Stream Deck. So I spent a bit of time yesterday mapping these. So what I'm going to show you is if I just go into here, really quick responsive menus. This is something that I really like. I hate it when menus take ages to update. So we're going to go through here. We're going to go to Color. And we're going to go here. So the GaiaColor in here is the inbuilt calibration system on this monitor. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a massive feature for this thing. I don't know how to do calibration properly, but I'm going to be confidently doing it on this monitor. So let's go in, have a look at that menu again. And down here, my EOTFs are set in here, so I can flick between, I can go to Gamma 2.2 really easily, just press enter. So if I'm grading for YouTube or whatever I'm doing, I can switch to Gamma 2.2. And I can now change that back to 2.4, enter in here. I'm at video range, which is what I want to be on. The GaiaColor color system, by the way, is what the factory calibrated to. So I know I need to be on that one to know that that's the calibrated color system that it was calibrated on. Does that make sense? I think that makes
perfect sense, yeah.
Good. All right, that's as deep as I'm going on it. I've pre-assigned the HDR functions and the SDR functions to the function buttons on here. You've got 5 function buttons. So if I just come off that, at the minute, I've got F5 is this really nice sort of false color display thing that they've got going on. F4 is currently assigned to my vector scope. I've changed it. F3 is my luminance scope. I don't actually need any of those. I've got my Omniscope running side by side here. So I'm going to assign function 3 to be Gamma 2.2. So let me show you how easy that is to do. I'm going to go to my menu. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to change that to be Gamma 2.2 and press enter. And then I'm going to go System. And I'm going to say Profile Save. I'm going to call it Profile 3 because I've already used 1 and 2. And I'm going to go up to my function button. I'm going to say Function 3, enter. And that is going to be Profile 3. Okay, so now what I can do is use the 5 function buttons to quickly switch between, this is Rec 79 Gamma 2.4, this is HDR. It's going to look a bit weird at the minute because we're still in SDR on DaVinci Resolve, but if I go to function 3, that is now Rec 79 Gamma 2.2. So I've got 2.2 and I've got 2.4, and look how quick I can change between these. Changing between SDR, different SDR types, and HDR is an absolute breeze. The menu structure on Flanders has always been fantastic, so I'm really pleased that that's come across on the XMP310. So I spent years grading in SDR, so I know what the images look like. I know this image so well, and I'm telling you this is definitely calibrated. I know what I'm looking at here. The blacks look gorgeous, all the highlights, all the colors, everything looks exactly as I would expect. But let's have a look at it on a chart here. I know what I'm looking for here on a test chart. This is the SMPTE chart, and I know that I should just be looking for a little bit of lightness in that area there. The whites look fantastic. I'm just going to bring in black. That's black, okay. This is the beauty of OLED, but this is quantum dot OLED. And what is also quite amazing here already I'm seeing is the reflection. The reflection I used to get on the DM250 was a little bit annoying, mainly because, not because of that monitor, but because the back of my control surface here is actually silver. This is a big design fault with these advanced panels. The back of it is silver, so we used to reflect off the monitor, and I actually used to put a black t-shirt on here. This is different league of reflection here. I can just about make it out, but probably more because we've got some studio lights on. Yeah, but this I'm absolutely blown away by that, to be honest. This is the first time I've seen it in better conditions. That is great. I'll probably still put a t-shirt on there anyway. Why not? Or paint it black. People keep saying paint it black. I don't want to paint my advanced panel black. And here is a 10-bit grayscale moving across. And I'm just going to check my settings. I'm in Ultra HD at the minute. Let's bring up an image. So I've got some red footage here. Let me just check that this is going from red to 709. I'm just checking, so I'm going from DaVinci wide gamut down to Rec 79 Gamma 2.4, which is what I want. And I know this image really well as well. I've used this in my training. This is very kindly donated to me by Johnny Finnis, so thanks, Johnny. This is looking fantastic, okay? I've got really good detail in the blacks. I've got good detail in here, but I'm looking forward to seeing this image particularly in HDR because we've got this lovely nice candle light and things going on. But that is looking great to me. And let's just play around with this. So do a little bit of offset in here. I tell you what, viewing this on a 31, but I've spent 6 years on that 25. This is just heaven. All right. Oh God, this is going to be so good. I'm so excited. Right, calm down, calm down. It's only a monitor. So let's have a look at this image in HDR. I'm very happy with the SDR. Okay, I know this is going to be fantastic. Let's switch in to HDR mode. So to do that, first of all, in DaVinci Resolve, I'm going to go into here. I've made some presets in here. So I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to go to my 2020 ST2084. So we're going to be working in PQ at 1000 nits. If I just load that preset, obviously this image is going to look a little bit weird now, but just bear with me. What I want to show you is what we're doing here. My video format, Ultra HD 2160p. I'm using 444 SDI. We've got the 12G SDI cable going in, so it's not on HDMI. This is a fantastic part of this system. It's SDI. Plug it in, it works. I'm on full data level here, and my color management is Rec 2020 ST24 1000 nits. So it's limited to 1000 nits. The monitor is limited to 1000 nits. All the deliveries for Netflix and all those companies want you limited at 1000 nits anyway. So let's have a look at what it looks like. I'm going to apply my red to 2020 node tree. Everything looks a little bit boring and dull on here. Obviously, I'm going to use my function key to switch this into HDR. Watch how quick this happens. Done. So I'm now working in HDR PQ. So we haven't done anything to it yet, so this is looking great, but now we can start pushing things. I've set my waveform to measure in nits, and let's just start pushing this around now. So we're now in HDR. So we can go, now what I've done, I've set a line here at 600 nits. 600 nits is where I don't really want to start pushing beyond, but this is looking absolutely gorgeous. Let's have a look at another image. So I'm going to pick, this one's Blackmagic 4K Pocket, and this is currently set to 709. Let's have a quick look at it in 709, because I can do that nice and quickly. There we go. But let's have a look at it in HDR. So I'm going to change my node tree here. So no grade going on at all, but I've just switched to Rec 2020 ST2084. Change my monitor over, and that is looking much better. Look at all this detail we've got coming in. You can't see it on Resolve, obviously, because this isn't an HDR monitor, but on here, this is looking absolutely gorgeous, and that's ready to grade. So this monitor is quantum dot OLED technology. So let's just check a star field. We shouldn't be getting any haloing effect going on here, and that is looking absolutely clean to me. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to push it a little bit further anyway. And it looks amazing. The blacks are blacks, and there's no haloing going on here at all. I just want to show you some of the other menus while I'm here. So we've got the function menus here. If I just go, so I've got my function 1, 2, 3. You've got 5 function buttons on the front here. And if I just enter one, you can see all the different options that you've got. So you've got lume scope, vector scope, pixel mapping, you've got lume coloring. So this gives you like a false color display. It's actually the same one that I use on my Omniscope. I've got that set to actually Flanders. I have done for years because I love that one. Function 5, there you go. So you get that kind of thing. So it's a really nice way of just seeing where your exposure is sitting. Back to the menu. And you've got area markers, safety markers, and you can load all your different profiles. You just see me do the Gamma 2.2 one. You've got position of your scopes, you've got the video input. So moving to the color menu, the color system GaiaColor, this is the factory calibration setting. So I know that on this one, this is the factory calibration. But if I go down here, the GaiaColor AutoCal system, and it allows me to go into here, press AutoCal on, and I can plug a probe into the back. In fact, you can rent a probe from Flanders for 3 days at a time. So really high quality probe, you just rent it, plug it into the back, and I don't need to use any proprietary software or a Mac or a PC connected to it. You literally just plug the probe into the back and it calibrates, but it does all the different color settings that you're going to need as well. So it'll do your Rec 2020, it'll do your Gamma 2.4, 2.2, whatever you need is all done in one sitting. This is absolutely fantastic. And if you don't want to do that yourself, you can always send the monitor back to Flanders Scientific anyway, and they'll calibrate it for free and ship it back to you. That's always been a service that they offer. Technical support with Flanders is second to none. I just want to say thank you here to Bram and Simon for the help they've given me in the few days while I was testing this. Just had a few setup questions. Their technical support is absolutely amazing and always has been. So I know this has come factory calibrated because I've got the test chart here for this actual specific monitor. And for those who want to geek out on delta E values, I've got a delta E value here of 0.2492, which is absolutely ridiculously low. That is a fantastic score. I mean, anything under 1 is amazing. Anyway, but that's ridiculous. And my gamma EOTF setting is 2.4002. So I'm with 2,000th of a decimal place off 2.4. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So the chart's there to prove it, but I know what I'm seeing. And the XMP310 also has no fan. So normally when you're working with a grading reference master monitor of this size, you're going to have fan noise going on. This doesn't have a fan in it. That's also going to help with the power consumption.
So now the studio's set up and I've been using this for quite a few days, I want to run a few tests again. I've got the media light on the back of the monitor, so this was originally on my DM250. We've got the lights out, we're in proper blackout conditions as I would be working, so this is exactly how I would be grading. So the first thing I want to check is that viewing angle again. We did it last time with a little bit of light on, so I just want to check it again. They're claiming 179 degrees, which is pretty much side on. So I'm looking at this array chart, I know this chart really well. This is in Rec 709, and I can't fault it. I absolutely can't fault it. There's nothing happening at all, even in the corners. The blacks are good, the whites are good. I'm absolutely blown away by that. So I can't fault the viewing angle at all. Let's just try that in HDR just to be sure. So if I go to my next version, I've got a Rec 2020 ST2084 1000 nit set up. I'm going to switch this over on my preset into HDR and just going to check that viewing angle again. And my director would be sat probably here. And I 100% can't fault it. I don't know how well this is going to come across on the camera, but that is absolutely fantastic. Now, one thing that really took me by surprise when I first installed this was how anti-reflective this monitor is, especially compared to the DM250, which I thought was good. The back of the advanced panel is silver, so it always reflects. I used to have a t-shirt on there. I can't see a single thing reflecting in this. I've even worn a bright shirt today. I normally wear a dark or black shirt or t-shirt to help with reflectivity. I can't see a single thing reflecting in this. It's absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do, I've got my desk lamp here. This is a media light and it has a D65 white point, and I normally have it on very low in the studio just so I can read my notes and things like that, and just add a little bit of desk light. And I'm just going to shine it in there. I still can't actually see it, so I can just see me reflecting now, and that is with that turned up quite high. So it's taking that level to even get some reflectivity, so it's absolutely amazing. So now under proper grading conditions, I want to test the HDR again. So I've got a couple of clips in here. I've got this one and got this one, but you can see that they've got these light bars going on. So these are going to be great for testing HDR. So at the minute we're looking at this in 709. So let's see what's going on. So we've got these color bars going on here, but there's a lot more color density that we can get out of those if we were in HDR. Let's switch the waveform over to 10-bit for a minute. And we can see we've got a little bit of highlights going on just up here. That's probably from this area here. So let's switch this into HDR, and I've got a preset on here. So there's a color space transform going from Arilog C3 to Rec 2020 ST2084 1000 nits. We're in PQ, and there's no grade as such. This is just the camera rushes coming out. So I'm going to press play and have a look at that going on now. Now, obviously I can't see it because the monitor's still set to 709. I'm going to switch that over to HDR, and then the whole thing starts coming alive. So look at those light strips now. They're totally full of color. It looks really rich. The specular highlights here look fantastic. I'm going to switch the waveform over to display in nits so we can see what's going on. We're not quite reaching 1000 nits with these speculars here. I'm going to push it now. Let's just go onto here. Let's go to my HDR tool, and I'm just going to push my highlights a bit. In fact, we could probably go specular highlights and push those right up. So we're really getting close to 1000 nits now. I'm going to play this through. So it's just starting to go a little bit down here. Is that because of what I've just done? Yes, it is. So let's bring that back again. And then I'm going to press play. Oh, that looks absolutely amazing. So much more detail in there. That's fantastic. Let's try that on the other shots here. So similar setup. Again, we're in Rec 709 at the minute, so I'm going to switch that to a different version. This is the Rec 2020 ST2084 1000 nit color space transform, and let's just play that through and see what's happening. You can even see here we've got this on-air studio light on here. In Rec 709 that looked really weird. It had like a white inside with a sort of glow around it. It was very weird. That is now really rich and saturated. This looks absolutely fantastic. The detail in the song sheets here is fantastic. Okay, I'm totally pleased with that. I'm going to just play around with a bit of exposure. Let's just see what we can get out of this. This is amazing. Okay, again, I don't know how well that's going to come across on camera, but this is absolutely fantastic. And just at my viewing angle, I mean, it just doesn't change, and there's no reflection. I couldn't be happier. So one thing I did notice with the XMP310 is it takes a long time to actually turn on. So when you switch that button, it takes 13 seconds until you actually see an image. I spoke to Founder Scientific about this, and firstly they recommend a 10-minute warm-up period before you start a grading session anyway, so 13 seconds is no big deal, but it's actually designed to prolong the life of the monitor. So all of the menu functionality on the monitor can be controlled over IP. It comes with a bit of software called IP Remote, simple connection via the IP address, and then I've got access to all the functionality via software. I can even control things like the color of the scopes and that sort of thing. And I can assign all this functionality to a Stream Deck. Now, one thing I noticed with this monitor when I started editing with it is that the audio was ahead of the video, so it seemed out of sync. I'm monitoring my audio through my Ultra Studio 4K Extreme, coming out my Genel X, and it transpires that you have to change one of the preferences in DaVinci Resolve. So let me show you what that is. So you go up to here, go to Preferences, and to accommodate for monitors' inadequacies to keep in sync, there is a default monitoring delay of 237 milliseconds. If you set this to 0, because this monitor is so amazing, and press save, your audio and video will be in perfect sync. So I hope this review has enlightened you how much I'm enjoying the XMP310. Go and check it out at a trade show. You need to see this under proper conditions. I cannot show you how good this is on camera. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next episode.
So all my work here is still standard dynamic range, otherwise known as SDR. So installation was an absolute breeze. We've got it installed because it's an installation. Yeah, so just remember the other things it does. That'll be all right. Up to 1,000 nits, 31.5 inches. We can
Not remember the rest of the detail.
0.2492. That is a phenomenal delta E value. Not that you should get too obsessed with those, but it's good to know that. Why? Where did I get up to? Okay. This is, I mean, far better than I even thought it was going to be. Well, I mean, I'm actually being serious. I just don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely chuffed. Obviously in HDR, and obviously now it's HDR as well, so it does 1,000 nits. It's Start again. UMP310. I can't remember what it's called.